What makes people get into sales? Our conversation today is with Rob Dell, Managing Director of IComm, a unified communication specialist and part of the Cloud Collective, on his opinion on how salespeople do what they do and what makes them really great. Thank you so much for your time to be interviewed with us on National Sales Institute. We're a change organisation aimed at raising the professional standard of the sales profession and make it a respectable profession from what the current state is. Just to start, what is your view of the sales function, Rob?
Well, my view as a sales function is a absolutely mission critical function for pretty much any business. Any business that isn't involved in sales is destined to not necessarily succeed. It's probably changed somewhat over my time. We've been in business for 20 years, and I'd even say it's changed quite some over that time, not just because we're in the technology game and that's part of it, that technology changes. Well, it used to change what it seemed like every few years, and now it seems like every few months. But I think the sales function is not only there to drive new clients or go and seek out new clients, but also to keep informed, educate, and build that relationship with the existing database that we have as a business. So I think there's a few functions and characteristics that go on with that, but it has evolved over those years. It certainly has evolved into, I think, I'd probably think one characteristic in thinking about this interview was, I think, the ability of a salesperson to do more listening has certainly come to the fore. Really listen to what the customer's saying, and not just, find their first little in and away you go with the sales bill, but ask continual questions to really uncover the reasons behind that. And that is, good questioning technique and equally as good listening technique.
So in your world and in your experience, what do you think makes sales then a career that attracts people to it? Are there common characteristics that sales has that matches to certain people? What drives people to get into this role?
Yes, I think there is. Sales is a career which can be very rewarding, both from a commercial perspective, but also from a perspective of people that want to be able to solve problems. So the only time you make a sale is when you identify a customer, or you can make them see that there is a problem, and your type of solution or service or what it might be is something that is probably going to go away to solving that problem. So I think a characteristic of people that want to be able to solve problems. I don't necessarily think that extrovert and people who are good at talking in front of people are necessarily a trait that's that required. I mean, I mentioned earlier that listening is just as good. So people who are inquisitive, people who are driven to uncover what people are actually doing in their business lives that make a solution which they could offer, bring into the table. So the characteristics, I think, of people who certainly have got the ability to or the confidence to ask questions of people, but also the knowledge and experience to shut up and listen to those questions intently, to be able to identify where they might be able to help solve.
I just want to unpack something that you said. You said it doesn't necessarily have to be those people who, are extrovert or are talkative, which just seems to be the perception with many people that, because this person can talk well, that person's going to do really well in sales. What do you think do you think there is any evidence to suggest that only talkative people or people who have this extrovert behavior can do sales well? Where do you think this perception comes from?
I think when they think of sales, and people might gravitate to, car salespeople, real estate salespeople. That is what I might terminalize the old world of sales. But in the new world of sales, I think that the extroverted nature of that isn't. I'm not even suggesting it's an added advantage if you can, but I do think the confidence. Okay, so the confidence in what you know and what type of questions to ask is key to it, and that comes from perhaps experience. That comes from perhaps an example would be some of the very good salespeople in the IT or the communications industry come out from being perhaps an engineer, and engineers are not necessarily people who are confident or extroverted. They're probably more behind the scenes on the keyboards and programming and fixing and so on. But those types of people who come with a deep technical understanding of the IT arena are probably some of the best salespeople that I've seen that can migrate themselves into do that if they've got the confidence to, confidently ask questions. Yes, I think there is a degree. You've got to be able to present yourself and your solution at the appropriate time, which means that you're talking in front of, one or many people. But I also think, those sort of skills can be given to people or trained into people, and if they've got the desire, the confidence, and the understanding that they're really there to solve problems, that's my true belief. That will shine through not only with the types of questions that you're perhaps asking, but the real listening intent, or those why questions to identify what is the real reason that the customer is even potentially listening to you or wanting to engage with you, to get to the root cause of that. And that comes from, I think, an understanding of that process, and a genuine belief or a genuine desire to solve a problem. And engineers, or the technical side of, in particular, our business, have certainly got that. They want to solve a problem. They want to get to the nub of the issue or the deployment. And at the sales function, I think there is a desire, if they can carry that through to there with the confidence or the training to ask the appropriate questions and do the listening, I think make a very good salesperson.
Now, salespeople, obviously, arguably, some would say, are the lifeblood of an organization because they sort of bring in the revenue. We're always on the lookout for good people. What do you do in your organization to keep a lookout for the good people that might become great salespeople in your company, Rob?
I think some of the best salespeople that you meet are the salespeople that come and sell to you, or that they want to sell you anything from a coffee bean to anything. So I'm always on the lookout, and I always take the time. Like sometimes I get rung by recruiters or various other people, and I'll generally take the time to go through the process with them, just to see what types of questions they're asking. How do they deal with my objections? How do they carry themselves? At what point do they involve someone else where the knowledge that they have might be expired? So I think that is one way to continually keep a mind out for good sales. I think the other thing is we're an open book here. We've continually got roles open, and it's not necessarily for roles open today. It could be a role open, because I'll guarantee I'll have a role open in the next year. I'll absolutely back it in. And having a bank of people that you continue to have a relationship of sorts with, I think is a smart way to do it. And I think the best salespeople come to you through a referral, continually asking and seeking advice from clients and partners and so on. I think is a wonderful way where you can attract new talent. And clients are a good one, because they see you in action. They know your culture. They know how you've sold to them, and some of their contacts, you just never know who they know that, you know, might be interested in you, or you might be interested in them. So I think having those types of conversations, you know, continually is wonderful. And probably the other thing too, and, you know, if someone asks me from a resume point of view, I always, you know, support people that I've rated who have come to me, and I will, you know, be their pseudo personnel consultant, if you like, and I'll send it around. I've got plenty of contacts, and I'll send it around to them. You just never know. I mean, you know, it's a small industry that we're in. It's in a small village that we're in here in Australia, and I think, you know, the more people that you can talk to and provide, you know, advice to, or seek advice, I think builds you not only your own credibility, but a database that you can, you know, lean on when you need to.
Rob, just to end off our conversation, what do you think then is the future of the sales function? How do you see it in the future?
I think there's always going to be a new business acquisition type of person or process. I think, you know, clients change their needs, and they might not, that might not suit your service or your product at a time. So I think there's always going to be a sales function. How that might look, or how that might transpire, I think, I think people are more educated by the time they get to you, and that's certainly been the case over the last decade. You know, if you know, Uncle Google can tell you anything that you want to know, from a price of a part to, you know, a thing, whatever that is. So I think that when people find you, the sales function is then to, you know, very much clarify why it is that they're looking for somebody like you. And no, don't just assume that, you know, I mean, I think we can assume that they're going to be looking for you and somebody else to compare your offering to them, price or function or experience or whatever it is. So I think the deeper future of sales is identifying your types of markets. And the smart companies, I think, I'm not saying we get it right all the time either, but the smart companies sort of are continually looking out there and what's changing, and, you know, what's on the horizon, and matching those, not only service delivery skills, but the types of salespeople that might be worthy, or might be the sort of people that you're looking for. And so I think, you know, continual evaluation. I think, you know, people deal with people. It's just that's a fact. And if you're in an organization which has, you know, you deal with a person, you don't deal with a ABC company, you deal with John or Mary Smith at the other end. And I think if that is the case, I think the continual evaluation of the market and the types of salespeople that you need, I think, and to me, that would still be a continual empathy for solving a problem, a continual desire to ask questions and seek answers, someone who's a continual learner. But I do think the sales function isn't going away. I don't think sales functions are going to be taken over by bots or artificial intelligence. They're going to aid the journey of the customer, no doubt, information seeking, and you can, you know, type into a website anything you want to know, and there'll be a bot answering you, and at some stage that'll be handed to a human who is then going to perhaps ask you some more deeper questions. And those are the ones that I think, you know, that questioning and evaluating that is where I think we're going to be heading. And as long as you're on top of that, I think you can probably carve out a successful career in business.
Rob, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure listening to your insights.